Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a squat and deadlift day. And today I decided to go a little lighter on the squats so that I could ensure that I got really good depth. And the sets were still challenging enough that I felt like I got a good training response. Because I did a 5x5 last time with 365, but looking at them, the squats were higher than I really would like. Right now these, notice I'm getting well below parallel. These are nice and deep. Feeling a great stretch on my quads. Now, I took 30 pounds off. Can't see the tens on the sides there, I guess, from this angle, but it's 335 on the bar. And I ended up doing 6 sets of 5. And I paused quite a few of the reps, and the reason for that is at the end of the day, I just want to make sure I'm getting tension on the quads. I need my quads to grow. I need to get in those deep positions. This is how we build mobility. This is how we build tendon strength, joint health, all of these things. I'm at a point where right now I'm not necessarily chasing big numbers. I can always go back and squat a little higher. I could throw knee sleeves on, belts, whatever I needed to do if I want to walk into a powerlifting meet later. Not really a big deal. Right now I want to build muscle. Muscle, muscle, muscle. Body composition, improving my physique. So I need to build some big quads again. Also, that translates to a big squat. It's just like I point out doing the flatter back benching with no arch. Look, if I build big pecs, I'm still going to have a big bench later. So this is going to be, again, doing some high bar squatting. Now this stance is a little wider than some of the higher bar stuff I've done. But for me, I feel like I get really good depth, right? Look how deep I'm able to get. I feel like I'm able to open my hips up more. I'm really able to sink it down. I like that. And it's not to say I can't work on getting a little narrower and do that. And I might mess with that, but the main thing is I'm trying to get deep. And notice I can get deep, I can get those knees forward, I can get that full range of motion on the quad. And that's really what I'm concerned about here. And so again, if I've got to drop down to 335 to get all of it, that's fine. I'll build it up from here. But the thing is, I started doing this with a little bit lower reps, and I looked at it and I'm like, by starting with 365 for the 5x5, I'm just not getting the range of motion. Well, if we're doing that, we're not getting the range of motion we want. We're not getting the maximum hypertrophy. And I want to be clear on that. We have to get those ranges of motion. It's critical. It's absolutely critical. And again, I'm continuing to diet. And I'm realizing at this point, like I said, I'm in a good place moving along. Really, I've just got to continue to diet down the love handles, the loose skin, the flank area. Okay, and I've talked about that ad nauseum, so I feel like I don't even want to keep reiterating it in the vlogs, other than I have to say it because new people chime in. They're like, oh, why do you do your waistline? Because I lost over 100 pounds of fat before. And loose skin is always held looser by extra fat there. And when I know for a fact that whole lower back, it will shrink down because I still have my photos I took in the hotel during one of the water cuts last year. That area was completely tight. All of that was gone for one day and one day only. Keep in mind, I'm walking around lighter now than before the water cut, lighter and stronger. So, again, once I dropped all that water weight, it dehydrated that area, sucked everything in tight. So it's an issue of just losing mass there. And in this case, just dieting the body fat down, right? Because that's also why, it stays hydrated in there, because there's stuff in there, there's tissue. So we just got to diet it off. Overall, really happy with the squats. I felt like I got a great quad pump, great quad burn, and I'm just going to build these up. And I think moving forward, I wanted to see how deficit deadlifts felt. I wanted to get a nice heavy set for me, because I haven't done any conventional deadlifts in just a bit, and I know I really want to work on back end. So I just did, 5 plates for 5 last time. So I went ahead and put 500 on there. And just to see if I could get 5 clean reps still on a deficit, and I did, so I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, shout out, you guys can barely see the shoes. I'm using the barefoot shoes that Chris Duffin sent me. I wanted to try these back out. He sent me these a couple years back as a gift, and they actually felt pretty good. I noticed at one time they were rubbing one of my toes the wrong way, but I got adjusted them. I've kind of reached in there and moved some of the material around my finger, got it just kind of worked over smooth, and then put them back on. No discomfort there in the toe. You just got to get your foot in there right, and make sure that you don't have any of the material folding over inside. And then they were great, but it was only on the right foot. But pretty happy with how they felt. They felt nice and good on the deadlifts too. But again, on the squats, trying to get deep, deep, deep. And if I can build back up there from deep, I'll be in a good spot. I'd like to get, with that sort of depth, I want to get up to, say, a 405 or a 5x5. And I feel like at that point, my legs will be in a real good place again. All right, the deficit pulls, we did 500 today for 5. And I got to change these angles. You can't see the change plates. But, you know, it is what it is. So that was just my warm-up, because people say, oh, you don't ever show your warm-ups. I only did 3 warm-up reps all day. Sorry, 2 warm-up reps. I did a 225 squat, and then I did a 405 deadlift. So I filmed the deadlift. That was my warm-ups for the day. Everything else is on camera. So I did do 1 rep that was not on camera. This 5-rep set felt pretty good, happy with it. So I think what I may want to do, I ended up doing 6 sets of squats. I kind of like to just stick back to my basics for just a little bit, and that may mean doing a 5x5 on some deficit deadlifts. I got to figure out what weight I can handle 5 full sets with, though. I might do a top set and then back it off, or I might just try to do a sets across with something. Find a weight I can handle and build it up. All right. Calf raises, because I realized I was capable of doing 315. It's just really hard for 8 last time. I went ahead and did all my sets with that. A few of the reps, it was a little hard to get them in a position. Also, I'm using different shoes, so it felt slightly different. But once I got into the groove of these, I think it went pretty good. I ended up doing 5 sets of 8 with the 315. So again, finally training my calves. I've been doing this a few weeks now. I'm actually curious, because I measured my calves. I measured everything, so I know where everything is. I'm actually curious to see if they actually grow or not. Because everyone's like, oh, your calves are huge. What do you do? I don't train them. But maybe I should. Again, let's come over to the point. If I'm going to work on getting leaner, and I'm doing all this arm work and other stuff, and I'm going to work on any aesthetics, well, calves are part of that. I might as well get my calves bigger. Also, it'll help me burn more calories. It's easier to get leaner the more leg muscle you have. Calves are an enormous part of your energy turnover. So that's been asked too. You know, I had some people say, why are you bothering to train calves? You already have great calves. And I'm like, but if we're going to talk about metabolic benefits, we want to talk about being able to cut on higher calories. Adding an inch to your calves is beneficial there, because you burn more calories just moving, walking, everything at that point. Any of your cardio, you're going to burn a lot more calories. It starts adding up. Again, the people who don't want big calves are marathon runners, because it requires more calories and energy and fuel for them to actually run a marathon. That's the one muscle they really don't want. It's extremely disadvantageous. Okay? But let's also come to the other point. What if I have bigger calves to go with my bigger hamstrings, and I want a big squat later? Will that help? Yeah. Maybe we should just get really jacked. Kind of the point I always make. When you even look at any of the big lifts, you can make a case for every muscle in the body just about getting bigger, improving your big lifts in some manner. Just get really jacked. If you get really jacked on full range of motion exercises, you will be strong. But you get a lot of that by doing real work through all of those. But again, yeah, a little bit of this peripheral stuff. This is what starts adding up. The arm work, the calf work. Okay? As I'm getting leaner. But we get in and train it hard. You know, get in and do some real work. None of this silly goofball stuff people want to do. I mean, I feel like that's a whole topic in the community that I've addressed quite a bit. I'm going to probably address it more. This whole power builder. It's like, this what people are calling power building is just old school bodybuilding. That's all it is. It's not a thing. Why don't you just call it bodybuilding? That whole training style that everyone did, the sets of styles that people are calling that, are just bodybuilding. It all came out of the bodybuilding world. It's not powerlifting. Incidentally, all those guys were good at the power lifts, though. Even though that wasn't always their goal. Just putting that in perspective Reg Park had a 500-pound bench press as a bodybuilder back in the day, in the 60s, 50s, whatever year, 1960. But look at those routines. Look at how those guys trained. Everyone today would look at that from the whole little physique community who are not familiar with history would look at bodybuilding workouts from 1960 and the best bodybuilders in the world. They would be, that's some powerlifting. No, man, that's what built those physiques. And they all looked good without tons of gear like today. All right, I finished up with some hanging leg raises, 3 sets of these afterwards just to finish everything off. Some extra grip training, all that stuff, decompress my spine. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.